Well, I've been talking about it for decades and arguing that we had a financial system that was very friable, very vulnerable, and it was the Fed that was creating the bubbles. And therefore, we should be looking into it and preventing these problems rather than waiting for a cataclysmic financial crisis to hit. But nevertheless, Congress and others were receiving too much benefit by a secretive Federal Reserve system that created money out of thin air and was able to finance big government. The conservatives, they loved it because you could finance war without being responsible. Should this much power be given to a Federal Reserve that has the authority to create $1 trillion secretly?
Not a whole lot has been talked about with regard to the $2.2 trillion that the Fed has lent out. Now, I find it absolutely extraordinary that I wrote you a letter and I said, hey, who'd you lend the money to? What were the terms of those loans? What were the terms? Who makes the decisions? Do you guys sit around in a room? Do you make it? Are there conflicts of interest? So my question to you is, will you tell the American people to whom you lent $2.2 trillion of their dollars?
We explain each of our programs. In terms of the terms, we explain the terms exactly. We explain what the collateral requirements are. We explain what.
To whom did you explain that?
It's on our website.
Yeah, okay.
So all that information is available in our commercial paper.
And who got the money?
Hundreds and hundreds of banks. Any bank or that has access to the U.S. Federal Reserve's discount.
Tell us who they are.
No, because the reason that is counterproductive and will destroy the value of the program is that banks will not come to the discount.
Isn't that too bad? They took the money, but they don't want to be public about the fact that they received them. Do you have to be a large, greedy, reckless financial institution to apply for these monies? Let me just say this, Mr. Chairman. I have a hard time understanding how you have put $2.2 trillion at risk without making those institutions public.
The only thing that restricts the activities of the surveillance state are policy. And because of that, a new leader will be elected. They'll flip the switch, say that because of the crisis, because of the dangers that we face in the world, some new and unpredicted threat, we need more authority. We need more power. And there will be nothing that people can do at that point. And it'll be turnkey tyranny.
The American people, for too long, have been an irresponsible, free people. And even generation to generation, as they become less free, they don't recognize it. They have lost the ability of critical thought. In order to regain critical thought, all you have to do is read your Constitution and then look at the laws that govern you, especially from the federal perspective. It's unconscionable to allow your freedoms to be taken away decade after decade after decade, year after year. And I'm very proud of this, by the way. My nation, the Lakota, were the first nation to militarily defeat the United States of America on the field of battle. And that resulted in the 1868 Sioux Treaty. Be that as it may, what has happened after they economically forced us into these prisoner war camps by destroying our food supply and our rite of passage in our own land. They confined us to these, and then they began practicing and perfecting their colonial tactics. What has happened is now America, because of the irresponsibility of your forebears and the irresponsibility of yourselves, you are now on one huge Indian reservation. All policies were bred and born and birthed on an Indian reservation, and then exported to the world, and now comes back on the backs of the American people. You have a near perfect document. In the words of Benjamin Franklin in 1744 to a collection of colonists discussing freedom, he said to them, and I quote, "If a nation to the north can form a near perfect union that has endured for centuries, why cannot we?"
Just fucking hating life every second of it. Hate every one of my goddamn friends. Hate myself. Every fucking thing. I mean, last night if I had a pistol, it'd be my fucking brain would be everywhere pretty much. Goddamn it.
Who'd you lend the money to?
It's 8:52 here in New York. I'm Brian Gumble. We understand that there has been a plane crash on the southern tip of Manhattan. You're looking at the World Trade Center. We understand that a plane has crashed into the World Trade Center. We don't know anything more than that. We don't know if it was a commercial aircraft. We don't know if it was a private aircraft. We have no idea how many were on board or what the extent of the injuries are right now. We have, I understand, an eyewitness on the phone right now. Sir, good morning. This is Brian Gumble. Could you give us your name?
Yeah, my name is Stuart.
Stuart, where are you right now?
I'm working at a restaurant in Soho.
All right, so tell us what you saw, if you would.
I was waiting at a table and I literally saw it seemed to be like a small plane. I just heard a couple noises. It looked like it bounced off the building. And I just saw a huge ball of fire on top. And then the smoke seemed to simmer down. And it just, a lot of smoke was coming out. And that's pretty much the extent of what I saw.
Can you tell us about the scene down there right now?
Right now, people are just on the street looking at the building. The building, there's just a lot of smoke.
Fucking idiots. Just looking at the buildings.
Some new and unpredicted threat. We need more authority. We need more power.
Tell us who they are.
12-year-old Ali Abbas was the face of the Iraq War. He lost his parents, his brother, and his arms in a U.S. missile attack. From his hospital bed, he spoke little, but he told CNN, "I want new arms."
And we'll call it the Federal Reserve Act, and convince those idiots there to pass it into law.
And we'll call it the Federal Reserve Act, and convince those idiots there to pass it into law. And we'll call it the Federal Reserve Act, and convince those idiots there to pass it into law. And we'll call it the Federal Reserve Act, and convince those idiots there to pass it into law. And we'll call it the Federal Reserve Act, and convince those idiots there to pass it into law.
How does it feel to be an American Nazi, huh? What's the American dream feel like now, bitch?